The biggest storyline I am looking forward to this March Madness is the run of the Purdue Boilermakers. Because I think, for me, they have the most pressure on them of any team in the tournament. And if they don't make the Final Four, I think Matt Painter should be fired. Purdue should fire their coach if they do if they come short of anything before the Final Four. Because this is a team where this is finally, like, if you were ever going to break through, if you're Purdue, years and years of regular season success followed by years and years of postseason failure. If you are ever going to break through and make a Final Four and actually contend, truly, for a national title, this is the year. This is handmade, tailor-made for you. Don't just take my word for it. We had Brian Bennett on the show earlier tonight. Does a tremendous job covering, writing, reporting, bracketologist for The Athletic. I asked him, Brian, are you feeling like this is the year? You feeling pretty good about Purdue breaking through, making the Final Four? Here's Brian's answer.
Feeling pretty good, and obviously they lost yesterday. But I look at the matchups they have, and granted, you would have looked at last year's matchups and think, Philly Dickinson, that's a pretty good matchup. But, you look at the teams that are in the bracket, they've already beaten Gonzaga. They've already beaten Tennessee. Kansas is beat up. South Carolina is a decent team that has no experience in the tournament. Mm-hmm. Creighton, I think, will maybe be the toughest matchup for them just because they have a big and Ryan Kalkbrenner who could really match up with Zach Edey, but he's pretty much the only big they have, and Zach Edey fouls everybody out. So, honestly, if you can't get through this bracket, if you're Purdue, I don't know when you're going to have a better opportunity than this.
I agree with Brian in that sentiment. This is the best shot for Purdue. And you look at what they have going for them. They have a guy in Zach Edey who probably is going to win Player of the Year again and join an elite list of players that have won multiple Player of the Year awards throughout their career, leading all of college basketball in scoring. Edey's been tremendous. You have an experienced team. Like, this has been a connected team where, they returned a lot of guys from last year. They have, experience. Like, they are a team that's not turning over and learning each other. This is a cohesive group. And you do have, I would say, of the 4-1 seeds, the easiest path to the Final Four. I mean, you just heard Brian talk about it. Doesn't really feel good about anyone else in the Midwest bracket. But despite all of that, despite a guy in Brian who knows what the hell he's talking about, and someone I agree with that if it's not going to be this year for Purdue, I don't know when it's going to be, I still don't think it's happening. I still can't sit here. I'm not picking Purdue to go to the Final Four because they are not a team that's built to win in March. Their playing style is not conducive to it. They're not athletic enough. They don't shoot enough threes. And they consistently play down to their competition come this time of the year. And I don't know, there's nothing I have seen this year that has me believing this year is going to be different than any past years. Look at Purdue under Matt Painter in March during his time with the Boilermakers. I mean, this has been a team that in 15 years, this is going on year 16. This is the ninth time in 16 years for Matt Painter at Purdue that they've been a top 4 seed in the tournament. And you know what's that produced? Despite consistently being a top seed, getting favorable matchups, that has produced a grand total of 0 Final Four appearances, 1 Elite Eight, and 5 different times they have lost to a double-digit seed, including the last 2 years where you lose to St. Peter's, a 15 seed, and then last year followed that up by losing to a 16 seed and Fairleigh Dickinson in round number 1 and becoming the second team ever as a 1 seed to lose to a 16. That is who Purdue is under Matt Painter. I've not seen anything that has me thinking anything's different's going to happen this year. And that is why, with this path, with this talent, if we are talking about another early exit for Purdue, which is before the Final Four, I don't know how you employ Matt Painter next season. You have to fire him. We play for championships, right? When it comes to judging how good a coach is, if he's the right guy for it, what are we playing for? Are we playing for regular season success and relevancy? Or are you playing to win a championship? I know for me, I'm playing to win a championship. I could care less about Big Ten regular season titles and number one seeds if it means consistently falling short and getting upset in March. Winning the Big Ten regular season does nothing if you are out in the second round of the tournament. And that's been Purdue's story. That's who they've been. And so if you are a team, if you are a university that's in it to win championships at a school like Purdue, I don't see how you can truly sell me that you are trying to win a national title and then yet still employ Matt Painter. Can't do it. There is no team with more pressure on them than Purdue. And because nothing has changed, because it is, that feels like it is the definition of insanity right now, where Purdue has kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. They have kept the same playing style. They've recruited similar body types. The names change. The faces change. You know what doesn't change? The results. And so now when you look at this bracket, with some beatable teams in Tennessee, who you talk about not getting over the hump, that's been Rick Barnes' bugaboo now for a while. It helps when you have Dalton Connect, SEC Player of the Year, on your team this year and healthy. But that's been, Rick Barnes is his big hurdle has been winning the big game. He struggled with that. Creighton, solid, but again, Purdue is better. Kansas beat up, limping into the tournament. Like this Midwest bracket for Purdue is, the easiest of any one seed that they have. That any one seed has, I should say. But yet, Purdue has made a habit. All they have done is lose to inferior teams year in and year out. It's one thing if we're sitting here talking about Matt Painter and Purdue losing to the national champs every single year. Playing great and just running to a buzzsaw in the Elite Eight, in the Sweet 16. What they're not doing is only losing to those teams. They're losing to Fairleigh Dickinson and VCU as a double-digit seed and St. Peter's as a 15 seed. And not even getting past those, what should be layups. Cupcakes, if you will. That's why I just don't understand how Purdue can seriously be all about winning championships, yet still employ Matt Painter if we are talking about a Purdue team that at the end of this weekend or at the end of next weekend has their season over with. It is truly bare minimum Final Four or bust. But with that said, it feels like the definition of insanity to pick Purdue to actually, go far and be a threat. Like, I was shocked. I'm sure like most of you, I was sitting there on the couch, 6 p.m. Eastern, watching the CBS selection show. And afterwards, I was hearing the analysis. Jay Wright, a tremendous basketball mind. Clark Kellogg, legend, great analyst, watches the games, knows what the hell he's talking about. I really enjoy his perspective. And I love Seth Davis. I think he's fair. I think he's smart. Again, as someone who watches all the games, those are three of the best minds college basketball has. All in the same set for CBS, all giving you their instant reaction and analysis once the brackets were released. I was shocked. All three of them picked Purdue to be in the Final Four. And I'll be honest, as I'm watching that, I'm sitting there saying, wow, I can't believe it, but it's true. I am smarter than Seth Davis, Jay Wright, and Clark Kellogg when it comes to Purdue. I can't believe all three of them are putting Purdue in their Final Four. They are not seeing what I'm seeing, which is a team that is not built to win in March and is not different than they've been in previous years when they have lost consistently to double-digit seeds and have failed to get over the hump. Every year it happens with Purdue. This is the year. They're going to finally break through. This is the year. This is not the year. They are not any different. That's part of the reason why I think Purdue needs a coaching change. It needs to fire Matt Painter if we're talking about Purdue's season ending before the Final Four. Part of it is recruiting and play style. It doesn't fit. Purdue's style does not fit March basketball. They continue to try to fit a square peg in a round hole and think it's going to work. It's not going to work. And that's why I was just confused and shocked. The three of the smartest basketball minds that I think we have right now in this country all are blinded by the fact of Purdue's regular season success, and they think it's going to translate over. It's not. It is absolutely not. Not this year, not ever. So I think Purdue has by far the most pressure on them in the tournament. They are also the team I trust the least. I don't think, even though the path is there for them to go to the Final Four, I don't think they're making the Final Four. And when that happens, I think Matt Painter needs to be fired.